Hey there, CJ Math students. Welcome to Math Test number 50. Today we're going to add and subtract integers, but this time they're going to be in rational form, so fractions or decimals. So we know if we have same signs, we add and keep the sign. If we have different signs, we subtract and keep the sign that has more. Now remember, when we see subtraction, only when we see subtraction do we need to use keep, change, change. So 2 minus 5 becomes 2 plus negative 5. Negative 3 minus 4 becomes negative 3 plus negative 4. Negative 5 minus negative 6 becomes negative 5 plus positive 6. So only when you see subtraction do you use keep, change, change, and then you'll change it into an SSAK or DSSM problem. So right off the bat, the key for adding fractions when they're integers, make sure you have common denominators first. These both have 3, so I'm good to go. I need to keep, change, change because I see subtraction. So this becomes plus negative 5 1/3. Now, if your whole number is negative, your fraction is also negative. So write small today because we're going to need all this space. So we have 4/3 plus negative 5 plus negative 1/3. We're breaking apart our mixed number into negative 5 and negative 1/3. If our whole number is negative, our fraction is negative. Now, let's use the commutative property to put the fractions by each other. 4/3 plus negative 1/3 plus negative 5. 4/3 plus negative 1/3, that's different signs, so I subtract them. They already have common denominators. I'll just keep the denominators. 4 plus negative 1 is 3. So we have 3/3 plus negative 5. 3/3 is like one whole. So basically we have 1 plus negative 5. 1 plus negative 5 gives us our answer of negative 4. What I want you to do is try number 2 and then check in with a teacher in the room. First you want to keep, change, change. And remember, you want to separate your fractions. So you have 9/5 plus 2 plus 3/5. And then you're going to want to rearrange using the commutative property. Okay, number 3. When you have just 2 whole numbers, separate your mixed number here with fraction and the whole number. So we have negative 2 plus 4 plus 1/7. So now we can do negative 2 plus 4. Negative 2 plus 4 is a DSSM problem. You'll see that a lot today. Different signs subtract. So we get 2 left over plus 1/7. When both these numbers are positive, it's same signs add keep. You just get to slap them together. So we get 2 and 1/7 as our answer. Number 4 is a fun one. We've got negative 6 plus 1/3. And this is a DSSM problem right off the bat, right? It might be easier for us to change negative 6 into a mixed number of negative 5 plus negative 3/3. What have I done here? I still have negative 6. I just have negative 5, and then I have a fractional part that's a whole that would, if added together, would give me negative 6. I picked thirds because I want to be able to combine it to this 1/3. So now I have negative 3/3 plus 1/3. That's a DSSM problem. That gives me negative 2/3. And since I have same signs, negative 5 plus negative 2/3, I just get to add them together. So that's negative 5 and 2/3. If I had different signs, I couldn't do that. That's what I had right off here at the bat. I want you to try number 5 and number 6, and then check in with the teacher. Remember, in number 5, it's 2 plus negative 1 plus negative 2/7. So if that whole number is negative, that fraction is negative. Now, notice in 7 through 10, we do not have common denominators anymore. Our denominators are different, so we need to find common denominators first. For negative 3 3/4 and 1/2, I can multiply 1/2 by 2 to make that a fourth. Now I have common denominators. So I have negative 3 plus negative 3/4 plus positive 2/4. I now have common denominators. So I have negative 3 plus negative 3/4 plus 2/4. Again, that's a DSSM problem. That gives me negative 1/4. And because these are both negative, I get to put them together. Negative 3 and 1/4. If they weren't both negative, then I'd have to do some more work. Let's take a look at number 8. 7 and 5. The only thing I can multiply them both by would be each other to get common denominators. So times 5 on that side and times 7 on this side. I now get negative 3 plus negative 15 over 35. Remember, if the whole number is negative, the fraction is negative. Plus negative 2 plus negative 7 over 35. A lot to keep track of here. Let's put the whole numbers together. Negative 3 plus negative 2. Let's put the fractions together. Plus negative 15 over 35 plus negative 7 over 35. Since I have common denominators, I'm going to be able to add those and keep the denominator. Negative 3 plus negative 2, that's SSAK, so that's negative 5. Negative 15 plus negative 7, that's SSAK, negative 22 over 35. They're both negative, so I get to put them together. I get negative 5 and 22 over 35. We're going to try 9, 10, 11, and 12 and check them with an adult. Remember on 10, before getting started, that should be a subtraction sign, so keep, change, change. And number 12, keep, change, change. And 13 through the rest are decimals. So you just have to remember on decimals, you want to line numbers up on the decimal. So number 13, first of all, subtraction. So keep, change, change. So that means I have 5.4 plus 3.4. I add them up. I have 8, decimal 8. And remember, they were both negative, so C. Let's try one where they're not lined up. 16. Negative 7.07 plus negative 4.9. So I like to put the longer number on top, 7.07, put a decimal right underneath, and then line up right underneath 4.9. Empty space gets a 0. They're both negative, so I just get to add them up. So 7, 9, and 11. Remember, they're both negative, so A. And lastly, number 18. Let's go ahead and do keep, change, change. You want to put the one that you have more of on top. So I have more negatives than I do positives. This is a DSSM problem, so 2.8 goes on top. And then I subtract, and I put a decimal right away underneath, 8, 2, 2. I fill in my 0 right there. So this is my subtraction problem. I got to fill in these with zeros. I can't do 0 minus 2. I can't do 0 minus 2, so I need to borrow from the 7. So, from the 8. That becomes a 7. This becomes a 10. Now I can borrow from that 10, make that a 9, and make this a 10. So 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 2 is 7. I can't do 7 minus 8, so I borrow from the 2. Make that a 1, make that a 17 now. 17 minus 8 is 9. Put your decimal down, 1. Remember, you had more negatives, so your answer is negative. All right? Just keep track by lining up your decimals. Remember, the one that you have more of in a DSSM problem goes on top.